guys, thank you for being here. I've been getting requests for creating first layers, so I'm going to make a few different tutorials on how I start my backgrounds on different surfaces. Now you can use these techniques on any surface. However, for me, since different materials have different qualities, I tend to approach the page to work with my surface. Now in this video, I am using Strathmore Bristol paper smooth. It's 9 by 12 and it's 100-pound weight. So it is quite heavy and it can take a ton of layers, and it's great for pen and ink without bleeding through. Also, the media tends to sit on top of the page rather than sink into the fibers, and I love the sense of immediacy this provides. So I've set out my colors on my palette, and over here I have a beautiful orange. It's this Liquitex and it's called Cadmium Red Light, but it's really an orangey color. And I'm also trying out this Dick Blick Yellow Oxide. It's a studio acrylic, so it's kind of a lower grade paint. It's not as thick as the Liquitex, but I still really love these Blick Studio acrylics. They're just a great quality, lower price paint. And I also have my Liquitex fluorescent pink ink, and I absolutely love this, so I'm gonna try this out, and I am gonna use my blue Stabilo pencil. And I'm just gonna start off with that and then see how I kind of, feel and add more colors as it goes on. But what I want to just say is this. In the beginning, like many years ago, I was terrified of this white surface. Like, it was so intimidating because so many thoughts tend to come up for us, like, what if I mess it up? What if I can't do this? And what if I can do this? And what, just all of these ideas that we have about the way our page should look. And one of the things that really helped me is now I tend to approach my page with a sense of curiosity rather than anxiety and fear and expectation. So I'm just like really getting in the moment, and it's like a meditation, because it's when you approach your page with a sense of curiosity, it's like, oh, I wonder what this is going to do. Like, I dip my pencil in water and now I'm simply just making marks. So what is my pencil gonna do? Oh, look, there's a drip over there. Wow, that's really beautiful. But when I keep my focus on the moment, I'm not thinking about what is going to happen next. And that's why painting, at least this part of painting, is a very meditative process, and it's beginner's mind. It's just approaching it with a sense of playfulness, joy, curiosity, and letting go of all expectations of what should be. I know it's easier said than done, but it's like, wow, I'm just playing. I'm just having fun. Look, I'm just dripping. There is no right or wrong. There's just a sense of it is. And all the decision making that comes with painting, it comes later on in the process. But in these first stages, it's simply letting go. And of course, I'm videotaping this and I'm publishing it on YouTube. But, even so, when I approach my page, I am letting go of all expectations of, well, a real artist should do this and a real artist should do that, and I shouldn't be doing that and I shouldn't be doing this, and blah, 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 blah. All of that is just your inner critic. It's negative voices that we have picked up from somewhere in our belief system. But honestly, if you look at this first stage as I am simply playing, And there is no right or wrong with playing. It's just, you're just playing. You know, there is no, think about a child, and when a child plays, there's only possibility, there's joy, there's freedom, there's being in the moment. And when I think back to when my daughter was, say, 2 or 3, we used to have all sorts of imaginative games that we used to play and make believe. And there really was no, oh, you can't do this, or you know, you should do this. There was none of that. It was just a sense of joy. So I really want to instill that in these first few layers. Is just approaching your page with a sense of the wonder of a child. And it is so freeing and so healing, and such a beautiful way to approach your page. And then when you look at it that way, there really is no fear of the white page. It just simply dissipates. So, anyways, I'm sorry for that long-winded kind of, you know, spiel, but it's so important to kind of look at it in that way. At least it is for me, because I used to be terrified of the white page. And I found that when I looked at it in that light, all of those fears just went away. They just vanished. Like I didn't even have to work at getting rid of my fears. It simply just went poof. So I think that's really important to kind of keep in mind. And another thing about being curious is you will just create so many wonderful little accidents and unexpected surprises that I couldn't plan stuff out. If I had to think about it, I just couldn't do it. Like, it's so weird. But when I let go, the most amazing things happen. So, anyways, so all I'm doing is really playing at this point. And it's just so relaxing and freeing to have those expectations disappear. So now I'm putting this yellow oxide here, and it is a really beautiful color. It's very muted as opposed to this. This is a cadmium yellow deep, and it's Liquitex Basics, which is also another really good quality, cheaper paint that I really love to use, especially in my first layers. So I save a lot of my really expensive paints for my later layers, but I mean, sometimes I still do use, like these are Liquitex and these do tend to be more pricey, and I'm still using them in my first layers. So I kind of mix them up sometimes too. So, okay, so I'm just putting my yellow oxide here. And I love to work with circles. Circles just bring a lot of good energy and movement to my page. So because this yellow oxide kind of got mixed in with this orange, and I want to retain the color, I'm going to add some of my Waverly chalk paint in Cashew and just kind of bring out the color again. So as you can see, it's just a big juicy mess here, which is actually really beautiful in its own way. And interesting. I tend to go for interesting more than beautiful sometimes. So now I'm going to get my Stabilo again, and I'm just going to make some marks. I'm dipping it in water, and I'm just making some marks. And I'm not going to use a heating tool on my backgrounds. I Generally, I don't like to use a heating tool because it does have its uses, but it tends to flatten the colors out a bit. And I like things to dry naturally because then the color retains more of its vibrancy, and I just like the way things look when it dries. So this is my first layer. I have gotten rid of the white page, and I mean, there's still some white over here, but I don't have that blank white page anymore. And I'm just gonna let this dry. But like you saw in the beginning of the video, I do have some backgrounds that I have worked on that are already dry. So I'm gonna pick one and now work on my second layer. So I'm just gonna show you, these are all on Bristol paper. It's the same pad that I used for that one that I just did. So as you can see, it's nothing spectacular. It's just all, I use the same process as I did for, you know, the process video I just did. So there's that one. I used a lot of the Stabilo pencil, and I really love these lines. It's just so organic and interesting. I love it. And this one is kind of bland, so I might actually use this for my second layer because it is so bland. There's that one, there's that one, and there's that one. So I think I'm gonna use, I really do love this. I love all these lines. So I'm kind of torn, oops, I'm kind of torn between so, I mean, I don't know. Let me see. I think I'm gonna use this one over here then. Okay, so let me see. Now I'm wondering if I should still keep the same colors or if I need to bring in a different color palette. Well, I think I'm gonna use the same colors here. And then I'll probably add more colors after, but I'm gonna use this yellow oxide and the orange here. And I think I'm gonna bring in a red as well. So what I want to do here is introduce my orange. And generally what I like to do is I repeat things in threes, and I've mentioned this before, but whether it's a color or a pattern or a certain material, I like to introduce them in threes or more. And usually I'll try to go for an odd number, not an even number, and that way it just keeps the eye moving around the page. So now I'm gonna use this red, and this is a Blick matte acrylic in red deep, and it's a gorgeous color. I love it, and it's really quite reasonably priced. I did a video a little while ago on steel versus splurge, and I think I put this paint down because it's really a beautiful color and consistency for a very reasonable price. I think this is like $2.70 a bottle, and it's a 2-ounce bottle, so it is a very good steel, and I love it. And look at this red. Oh my god, it's gorgeous. I love it. So even at this stage, I'm still playing around. I'm not really thinking too much about you know, what am I gonna paint over top of this? What is the image gonna look like? Like, I'm not thinking about any of that stuff at this point. I'm just playing. I'm just simply having fun. So everything that applied for that very first layer, I'm doing the exact same thing, in the sense of I'm just curious, you know, I'm just like, oh, let me see if I add this, what is it going to do? And so on and so forth. And it's still a big juicy mess here. And I tend to gravitate towards the really hot colors. And I mean, I really have to work and remind myself to add the cools. Because I just love the hot colors. And this is gold. And I just love adding gold on red. And I think that's just the Indian part of me, where I just love all the hot colors and I love gold. And I take a lot of inspiration from Indian fabrics, the color combinations and the designs and what have you. So I'm gonna do another video on how, like, you know, finding our style and combining elements in a way that's unique to us and our voice. And so I'm working on that, like, conceptually. I'm just trying to think about how best to make a video on that. And I feel like I'm still trying to find my voice and trying to find my style. So I think it's just probably a continual process of learning and growing and refining our style, and then, you know, adding new elements as we grow and change, so that our work doesn't remain static. So that is a second layer. There's no collage on here. It's I'm loving parts of this. Like, I'm gonna get my viewfinder out here and just take a look and see at what's going on. So I'm really loving parts of this for various reasons. And I think what I'm gonna do is add some of this gorgeous pink ink to the mix here. And it's a fluorescent pink, so it is really, really luscious. I love it. And so I think what I'm going to do is bring some blue into the mix, like a blue paint, a blue acrylic. And I'm gonna go with ultramarine, which is my favorite blue. Well, ultramarine, and I love turquoise as well, but I don't know, for some reason I just tend to gravitate towards the ultramarine. And I do love also the indigo. Indigo is just a gorgeous color. So I'm just gonna kind of bring some of that blue . can see I'm repeating that pattern 3 times. So I'm gonna find another place that I can add it. Okay. So it does look like a big juicy mess over here, and I think what I'm going to do is allow it to completely dry, and then I can come in and add my 3rd layer. If I continue working on this while it's still wet, it might get muddy in a way that I don't really want it to, in a direction that I don't really want it to go in. Because while neutrals are really, really important and essential, I also don't like an unintended muddy neutral situation to happen, if that makes sense. So I'm gonna allow this to completely dry, but I hope you enjoyed this creating first layers on Bristol paper tutorial, and I will do a few more videos on creating first layers, but it'll be on another surface. Okay, so thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.